There are moments when everything seems silent, even when the world makes noise. The body is present, but the soul seems to have withdrawn. Time passes and still, something in us remains suspended, as if we were waiting for a reunion we cannot name. In this space between silence and fatigue, between the life we touch and the life we long for, resides an unspoken question. Where has my strength gone? Have you ever felt this? As if you had been strong for so long. But now, that strength no longer recognizes you? It seems absent, it seems distant. The mind tries to resist, tries to keep everything standing. But something in you knows. It is not resistance that heals. It is truth. It is wholeness. It is presence. The unbreakable mind is not made of hardness. It is made of coherence. It is born when you stop fighting against yourself and start vibrating with what is true within you. Gregg Braden teaches us that the field that sustains reality responds to the coherence between what we feel, think, and choose. That's where power resides. Not in brute force, but in aligned strength. You don't need to fix yourself. You need to remember. Remember who you were before the wound, before the fall, before the armor. Because inside your silence, there is a code. Inside your emptiness, there is a portal. And inside your story, there is a strength that has never left. It has only been forgotten. There are frequencies that do not pass through the mouth. They vibrate in gestures, in choices, in the gaze. Frequencies that escape between words and silently construct what you experience on the outside. Most people live with a hidden frequency, a vibration that does not match what they show the world. Perhaps you say you're fine, that you believe, that you trust. But inside, there is fear, doubt, loneliness. And that's what the field feels. Because the universe does not respond to what you say. It responds to what you vibrate when no one is watching. The hidden frequency arises from the unconscious self-image you carry, the one built by rejections, by abandonments, by silences that hurt more than words. Gregg Braden reminds us that the matrix of reality is not deceived by appearances. It reacts to the vibrational content of your heart. That's why many times you attract what you believe you do not want. Because on some deep level, that's still what vibrates within you. The unbreakable mind begins to form when you stop sustaining false versions of yourself. When you allow yourself to recognize, this pain is still here. Because only when you recognize, can you transform. For a long time, we were taught that vulnerability was weakness, that showing pain was failure, that crying was a sign of defeat. And so, many of us learned to hide, to smile on the outside while bleeding on the inside, to wear strength as a disguise. But what no one told us is that hiding pain doesn't eliminate it. It only accumulates. And the more hidden it is, the more fragmented our vital energy becomes. Elevated vulnerability is not exposure. It is integrity. It is when you allow yourself to be whole in front of your own pain. It is when you stop splitting into pieces to fit into expectations. Joe Dispenza asserts that the body carries the emotional memory of everything you repress, and that the act of denying your pain is often what feeds the physical symptom, the existential fatigue, the vibrational disconnection. The unbreakable mind is born when you stop running away from yourself. When you look within and say, "This still hurts, but it does not define me." It is in that moment that bioenergy begins to flow again. Because truth sets you free, even if it hurts, even if it exposes. Truth reconnects you. Your body does not forget. It is made of records, of memories, of inherited frequencies. What you've lived, even though your mind may have forgotten, your body still carries. The unspoken anger, the silenced guilt, the abandonment hidden behind productivity, all of that vibrates within you. silently shaping the field of your reality. Bruce Lipton shows us that we are not prisoners of DNA, but we are mirrors of what we allow to remain in our vibration. Epigenetics reveals that beliefs, traumas, and unresolved emotions directly affect genetic expression and cellular behavior. In other words, your emotional biography shapes your energetic biology. It is not enough to change thoughts. It is necessary to heal the records that live in the body. The unbreakable mind knows this. It does not force positivity. It listens to the symptoms, embraces the pain, and reconfigures the frequency. Imagine your body as a choir, every organ, every cell, every system, a voice vibrating together. When there is trauma, one of these voices goes out of tune. When there is repression, another remains silent. But when there is awareness, the choir can sing in harmony again. Imagination is not a luxury of the mind. It is a sacred tool, a divine code that most people ignore or underestimate. Many believe that imagining is escaping reality, but it is exactly the opposite. Imagining, with presence and coherence, is sculpting a new reality from within. Neville Goddard reveals to us that everything we manifest is born from a felt internal image. It is not enough to visualize. You must feel as if it already is. Imagination, when associated with coherent emotion, becomes a creative language. But there is a subtle mistake. Many use imagination to escape pain. They create parallel worlds without integrating the wounds. And this generates more frustration, because they dream of light but vibrate in shadow. The unbreakable mind understands that imagining is not escaping, it is programming. Programming, the field with the vibration of what is true. You do not manifest what you want, you manifest what you believe. And conscious imagination is the sacred rehearsal, where you teach your body how to feel when what you dream becomes real. Real change doesn't happen by chance. It is born from ritual, from the repeated gesture with intention, from the small habit made with soul. The mind, by nature, resists the new. That's why repetition is essential, not as rigidity, but as consecration. Gregg Braden reminds us that the ancestral peoples knew this. They sang, walked, breathed, and prayed in cycles, because they knew the body needs rhythm to access the invisible. In our immediate era, we have forgotten this. We want profound transformations with superficial effort. But without vibrational repetition, there is no lasting reprogramming. The unbreakable mind cultivates micro-daily rituals. It prays with the body. It breathes with intention. It repeats not out of habit, but for alignment, because it knows that each time it repeats a sacred gesture, it anchors a new version of itself into the field of reality. Silence is not absence. It is expanded presence. In a world that trains us to run, do, speak, and prove, to silence is revolutionary. But not just any silence. Conscious silence is the one that listens to the soul, that embraces the invisible, that allows the wisdom of the field to reveal what effort cannot reach. Gregg Braden speaks of the felt prayer, the one that doesn't ask, beg, or shout. It only feels as if it already is. This is creative silence. This is vibrating without noise. It is creating without stirring. Many live in agitation because they cannot stand the emptiness. But emptiness is not absence. It is seed. The unbreakable mind does not seek to control. It trusts, and in silence, it listens to the path. In non-doing, it vibrates the most powerful action, to be presence. Everything is a choice, even what seems. Inevitable is shaped by how you choose to position yourself in front of it. Inner strength is not about winning all the time, but about not losing yourself when everything crumbles. You can choose to vibrate fear or presence, guilt or compassion, control or trust. Not to deny what you feel, but to walk consciously through what you feel. The unbreakable mind is not born from ready answers, but from the courage to ask, what frequency do I choose to sustain right now? Because sometimes we cannot change what happens, but we can always change the field from which we react. And when this choice becomes practice, it becomes field. And when it becomes field, it changes everything. You are not what they said. You are what you vibrate, and this vibration can be reconfigured. Gregg Braden shows us that the coherence between brain and heart emits a magnetic field so powerful that it impacts DNA, the body, others, and the world. Bruce Lipton confirms, you can rewrite your vibrational identity. It all begins with the decision to stop sustaining versions of yourself that were created from pain. The unbreakable mind is not perfect. It is honest, it is whole, it is conscious. Reality is a quantum mirror. It does not respond to what you want, but to what you sustain. And the identity you emanate, the one that vibrates, that feels, that chooses, is the invisible mold of everything you live. The strength you seek is not outside. It is in returning to your axis. It is in being faithful to what vibrates in love. It is in becoming the field that transforms, without forcing, without proving, without begging, just being. Be the frequency that heals. Be the presence that anchors. Be the consciousness that awakens. This is the unbreakable mind.